Hello everyone, I'm back with a new video and this time I have this beautiful landscape of a bright red tree beside a quaint house with a green roof, some colorful bushes and a couple walking along a pathway. Would you like to paint it along with me? Come on then, stay with me till the end and let's start painting. So this is the initial line work I did with a graphite pencil, which you may copy if you want by pausing the video. This is a kneadable eraser and I am using it to simply dab on and remove any loose graphite left on the paper so that it doesn't mingle with our paints later on and make the painting look muddy. This is my usual color palette, which has lemon yellow, gamboge yellow ochre, orange, crimson red, rose madder, burnt sienna, raw umber, sap green, cobalt blue, ultramarine blue, Prussian blue, turquoise, Indian red, raw sienna, vermilion hue, magenta and black. And now since the paints have become dry, I am simply spraying some water over them with a spray bottle so as to reactivate the paints. I may not use all of these shades, but they are always there on my palette all the same. Now with a large brush loaded with water, I am making the sky area wet so that I can paint the sky using the wet in wet technique. I am introducing the sky color into this wet surface. This is ultramarine blue that I am using. Because the surface is wet, you can see the paint spreading smoothly all over without leaving any hard edges. As long as the surface is wet, you can keep introducing colors into it until you get the desired effect. This is the beauty of the wet in wet technique used in watercolors. I am using the same technique for the tree foliage gradually, but this time I am also combining it with this scumbling technique. If you are a beginner especially and would like to know more about these techniques, I have two videos in two parts explaining some 16 such various watercolor techniques. You will find the link to these videos in the description, which you may refer to whenever required. For this tree I am using crimson red basically, as I want to indicate the bougainvillea creeper running all over the tree, and so I am basically going to use crimson red. I may add some Indian red or burnt sienna later on for the dark shades. These kind of trees are to be treated as bunches of foliages, and so each of the bunches will have their own lights and shades. That brings us to our usual note of the light direction. Here I am assuming the light source coming from the right side, and so all surfaces facing the right will be in light values and all surfaces against the light will be in dark shades. I used some yellow ochre and sap green for the background trees and softened their edges with a damp brush. The walls of the house will be white, but the side of the house which is against the light will have some greyish or bluish tone, and so I am using some blue for this side. The background trees on this side will also have some yellow ochre, some burnt sienna, some sap green. It will be a mixture of all these colors. Remember, this is only our first layer. As always, we will be working in multiple layers, adding the details subsequently. Of course, it's always good to avoid too many layers so that the freshness of the colors is not lost. But of course, this also depends on the paper you are using. If your paper is more absorbent, then you may need to add more layers, as watercolors always appear light when they dry up, and so it becomes necessary to add more layers to achieve the desired intensity of colors. Here now for the foreground I am using some gamboge hue, sap green, burnt sienna to indicate the bushes. For the pathway I am using a reddish yellowish sort of a hue. I have purposely chosen green as the roof color for this painting, as it is complementary color of red of the tree, just so as to add some interest and contrast in the painting. This way, both of them stand out equally, which is what I want for this painting. Do let me know in the comments what you think about this. Now that the first layer is complete for the entire painting, I am beginning with the next layer for the tree using the scumbling technique, where I will be using light and dark values of red simply by either adding more water to make it a lighter hue, or by adding more pigment to have a darker shade. And this is exactly how watercolors work. We don't add any white to the paint to make a lighter value, as then it loses its transparency and becomes opaque like gouache. And that is not what we want. For lighter shades or for lighter values, we simply add water to the paint that we are using. Again, as always, we are doing a sort of an impressionistic painting, not a fully realistic one. So, we are not going to include the finest of fine details that you would do for a realistic or a photorealistic work. And that means that we won't be showing each and every leaf, each and every blade of the grass. Rather, we try to bring out the essence of things, but in a moderate way. And yet, it won't be as an abstract work where absolutely minimal details are shown. Maybe something in between an abstract and realistic is what we intend to do, and that could be said to be an impressionistic work. Painting of shadows of the elements in the painting is sort of a game changer, I would say. When you show the shadows of the roofs, later on of the tree, the shadows on the tree trunk, of the figures, etc., will make the elements pop out immediately and give an attractive feel to the entire work you will see. We still have to go a long way yet, so let's work on the painting keeping in mind all of the things mentioned and working on more and more layers and more detailings, and then catch up. And so with all the layering and detailings, we finally completed our painting. I hope you liked it. If you did, do like, subscribe and leave your comments. Don't forget to press the bell icon so that you get notifications for future videos. Also click on the end screens displayed here to watch other videos. I hope you enjoy them too. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video then.